to the cloud. Okay, so we are recording, so that's
Yay,
exciting.
Good job. See, we're already doing better.
We're already doing better. All right, now we're going to go live on Facebook. All right, so I'm clicking the button now.
Okay.
Okay, I believe that we are connecting in. This is Lisa Jones, and I'm just making sure that we are all up and running before we start this program fully. But if you are here, you can go ahead and say hello and where you're from. And let's see, I'm going to add a title, The Real Deal. Okay, and I'm going to hit the go live button.
All right.
Okay, so we are live here. It's 11:11 in Hawaii and 1:11 where Goldyn is, and we are the real ones. Thank you for joining us today.
Yay! And we have a very, very, very special guest. My friend Colin Jackson is here with us with an incredible story. I think it's really important for us to gain perspective, to hear people's stories. A few years ago, found Colin, and we found each other on Facebook through a network marketing company we were both part of, and he started really inspiring me. And I think it was really when I moved to California and he started posting these daily wows, and he would put these incredible sunset pictures up. And I was really into the sunset when we first got here because the sunset always made me feel better. It just made me feel assured that life was okay and that I was going to be okay when we were feeling these times of like really our faith being tested. So his pictures really kind of made me think, wow, how cool that this guy goes out every single day and takes a picture of the sunset. And it felt like it was just for me. So it was just to remind me. So then, we've had messages together, and then just this incredible thing unfolded for him that we don't even know what's going to manifest from it yet. I know he has had an incredible journey learning and growing, and I've followed that right alongside of him on social media. And it's so funny how we can meet people on social media and feel this really strong connection that goes beyond the physical. So welcome, Colin. We're so happy that you're here, and I cannot wait to share this story with other people and let them see what unfolds for you even going forth, because I know there's some good stuff for you going to happen. I know it.
Well, thank you, Goldyn, for the introduction, and thank you, Lisa, for having me on The Real Ones. I look forward to the conversation we're about to have.
Cool.
Fantastic. So yeah, tell us your story.
Well, I'll go back about 6 years. We'll go back to the beginning of 2014, seeing that it's like Christmas and almost the New Year here. I was working at a corporate job, running, day to day, like living life, just like any other. I was living like the typical Western life of going to work, eating not particularly well, not exercising particularly well, and then coming home and either going to have some drinks at a bar with some friends, or just not doing much. Like my life didn't have purpose. That was until I went to the doctor on January 21st, 2014. I was out of shape. I was like almost 300 pounds. I had high blood pressure. I would sweat going up a flight of stairs to my front door to my car, It just life was like, I had just blamed it on, hey, I was busy at work. Like life was getting the better of me, but really my health was deteriorating. And on that Tuesday, January 21st, I had a couple of wake-up calls. I went to the doctor. They took my vital signs, and I had a blood pressure of 187 over 143. If you're not medically inclined, that's high. Your heart can't take that for long periods of time. You're going to have a stroke or a heart attack. And the doctor said if I wanted to see my next birthday, I needed to make a change.
Wow. How old were you? How old were you when that happened?
6 years, 32, just turned maybe 32, 2000, 6 years. I'm 37 now. So yeah, it's 38. So I'm probably 32, turning 33. So, I mean, I wanted to see, I just had a birthday like several days before, and it was like, I wanted to see my next birthday. So I was like, on the way home from the doctor's office, so I was going back to work, and it was picture day at the office. And we had to get our pictures, you know, for the marketing and, you know, for the website and stuff. And I was driving back, and I pulled over to a McDonald's parking lot. And I got, as I did, my couple of McDoubles and my Diet Coke, because that's healthy, right? And I sat in the car. And because I didn't smoke cigarettes in the car, I got out of the car and I chain smoked 2 cigarettes. I smoked a pack of cigarettes a day, but I didn't smoke in my car because that would be bad. It'd smell disgusting, you know. But
well, at least you had some standards, right?
You were healthy. Yeah, because you were healthy. You didn't smoke in your car.
Right. But so I went back to work and thought nothing of it. You're like, oh, doctor told me. All doctors try to scare you, you know. But it's like, that was the first slap in the face I got that day. Later on, I met up with a friend, a really good friend, and I told them what the doctor said and my blood pressure numbers, and they turned to me and they said, Colin, you're fat.
Oh.
Just blurted out. I was like, you know what? That's the second slap in the face today, but there was no denying it. I was fat. I was almost 300 pounds. I had a size 44-inch waist. I was out of breath walking up 1 flight of stairs. Like, this isn't normal. Like, I wasn't healthy. So I went home, and I was actually going through Facebook, and the Arizona Rock and Roll Marathon, like, whether it was an ad or somebody had posted about it, it just happened that weekend. And I was like, I can run a marathon. I mean, I'm 286 pounds. I don't run. It's like I get out of breath just walking up flight of stairs. I'm going to run a marathon.
And a smoker.
Pack a day, right? So I'm like, I'm going to run a marathon by my next birthday.
Wow.
Well, I told people, and everybody, but a select few laughed at me.
Yeah.
They said they couldn't run. You're not going to run. You can't do it. Wow. They laughed at me. I've got screenshots of text messages of them just blatantly laughing to me. And that I used that, like, at first it hurt, obviously, because I wasn't used to that. But I was like, wait a second, I'm going to do it. Not because they're telling me I can't, but because I can do it.
Yep.
So that was the January, that was that Tuesday. And the first 5.5 months of my journey, I spent on mindset and nutrition. I didn't run a single mile. I didn't go out for a run. There was no point going out or a run because I was too heavy and my mind wasn't at the place it needed to be.
You would have killed yourself and you would have quit probably, right?
Right. Yeah, right. It's like, but that July 1st came around and I went for my first run. It was the first time I would go for a run. And from where I live in Southern California and San Diego and Pacific Beach. There's a lot of tourists that come into my zip code. So the beach and the boardwalk are very intimidating places because there's a lot of super athletic humans. I mean, Southern California, for one, I mean, Goldyn will tell you, it's very athletic. And so people, if you are overweight or you come from different parts of, you know, the world, it can be intimidating to you. I mean, I was intimidated, but there is a fence at the end of the road. So from my house to the fence was 1 mile. So I went outside on July 1st, 2014, and I did my stretching like you do, you know, because I thought that's what runners did. They stretched and stuff like that. And I took off like I was an Olympic sprinter. And I made it less than a block. And I mean, I was damn near dead at the end of this block. Like, I was dry heaving. I was spitting up because I was a pack a day smoker. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, I can't even run a block. And I'm like dry heaving. I'd lost all this weight, like 50 plus pounds. It's like, this isn't easy. Well, I said, okay, little by little, I'm like, go touch this fence. So it was like, okay, I would run a couple of feet, then have to walk 5 times the length I just ran because I had to get my breath back.
Yep.
But I got to the fence. It took me 28 minutes and 47 seconds. I never forget this mile. I sat at the bottom of the fence. There's a bench down there, and I was in pain and tears for almost 30 minutes because my legs hurt, obviously, my lungs hurt, and it was like my head hurt because it's like I committed to doing a marathon. I got to do this 26 more times, and I can't even do 1 mile. It's like, okay. So I sat there, I regrouped, and on my way back, I was thinking, Colin, just get an Uber now. Go on your app. You got an Uber app and just get it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I went onto YouTube and I typed in motivational videos and then running. So these motivational videos for running came up, and I was like, okay, this will get me back to the house today, but videos aren't what it's going to take to get me across the finish line. Like I have to adjust my mindset even more, because it's going to be a lot harder on race day than it is today. And I thought today was tough. So it's like the next 6 months of me adding, and I just added a little bit each day, a little bit more. I moved my fence. So each day I was striving to be a better version of me from the previous day. And I just extended like 100 feet. And then it would go, 100 meters. And then it would go like 1,000 meters. And it would just keep adding up. And day in and day out of never quitting on myself. Like, trust me, I would wake up at 4:45 in the morning to go out for my run. It doesn't rain often in San Diego or Southern California, but when it does, it's like I was always out there in the rain. And it was like cold, miserable. And going out there just like got my mindset to, because when I was out running, I was able to like dig within my mind. Like I was able to meditate. It was my meditation session. Like, and when you go out for long periods of time, and it was time, not distance. It's never been about the distance for me. It's been about the time. Like I can go out there. It's like I spent that training miles, which ultimately ended up that I was able to complete that marathon in less than a year that I set out for. I lost 106 pounds doing it. But while going out each day and not only running and doing the training and then getting the mind right to put what's in my mouth, because I knew that you can't outrun bad nutrition. So they say you can't outrun a bad diet, right? And it's very true. I mean, there's times we thought, I ran 10 miles, I can go have all this whole pizza and stuff. It's like, no, can't do that. Like, so that the day before my birthday, January 18th, 2015, is when I completed my first marathon. Well, in the November before, when I signed up to run my marathon, I didn't sign up for just one marathon. I signed up for 3.
Wow.
And that's because my friend at the time, who told me like I could from the start. He believed in me when everyone else doubted me. He was the one that says, hey, Colin, you can do it, bud. Like, you absolutely can. People have laughed at me and look at me. So he was successful in his right mind. I was like, okay. So when I registered, it's like, I have a chance to register for 1, but it's like, Colin, these people told you couldn't do 1 and you didn't believe them. You really think that you're just going to stop at 1 marathon? A marathon changed your life. Like, keep going, bud. Like, so it's like, okay, I'll sign up and register for 3. So it's like, I hadn't completed 1 full marathon, but I had committed to doing 3 in the 2015. And I completed my first one in Arizona. And then in the June, I completed one here in San Diego. And then between June and my next one, which was going to be in Vegas, my friend at the time, Mark, passed away in a car accident.
This is the one that believed in you?
Yeah, the one that believed in me from the beginning, like the one that, was always there for me. I was having rough times. Like, it's not all smooth sailing, right? Like, sometimes life's going to hit you bumps and emotional bumps, physical bumps, and you're going to need somebody to just, hear you out, right? And he was always that person. Like, so it was like, okay, I don't have that person anymore. So I still have this goal. And it's like, I can't quit. Like, quitting is not an option. Like, even though it's tough and I've lost my best friend, I'm going to continue. Like, I'm going to go. So it was actually the first time. I'm Scottish. So he was English. So when we jabbed back and forth, as you have your rivalry between the 2 countries. But it was the first time I ever wore a English flag. So the St. George's Cross I wore it on my T-shirt in remembrance of Mark.
Wow.
So I completed that one in the November, and that was 2015. And then it was like, okay, that was fun, but what can I do now? 2016, how can I improve from the 2015? So in 2016, I committed to completing 4 full marathons. And by doing that, I maintained the 100+ pound weight loss. Because 95% of people that go on diets or go to lose significant weight will put the weight back on plus some. So it's like, I knew that. So it's like, I had addressed the mental reasons of why I turned to food, why I turned to cigarettes. Because in 2016, on October 1st, I quit smoking cold turkey.
Wow.
So I
Good for
completed
you.
7 marathons, full marathons, smoking a pack a day.
That's incredible.
Yeah, my whole body is chilling.
Right.
That's just like, truly, I just want to take a moment here and just literally just praise you for taking charge of your life. How amazing.
Well, and for like so you created a new identity, and being able to, once you create a new identity, you basically just cut off that old identity. And that's why the cold turkey thing can work for you, because it's like, I'm not going back. Like, just like you were like, oh, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep doing these marathons because this is who I am now. That's identity creation. Just going out there and pretending you're an Olympic runner, even though you can only do a block, that's identity creation.
Right. No, it really isn't. It's manifesting. Like, I believe in positive affirmation. So every day, like an I am statement to me is very powerful. Like, the password on my computer at work was, I am a marathoner. Like, type it in. And it's like, you have to lock your computer. I was typing it in over and over. Well, every 90 days, IT requires you to reset it. I'm not changing my password today. I went to my boss and says, this is a password, I'm keeping it. He's like, you're typing in an affirmation. Yes, keep that password. So it's like, the IT guy had to go change it so I could put that. It's like, no, I'm not changing it. Like,
that's amazing.
So from that, like, I had to kill off the previous person, like the person I was before. Like, the reason I went from one addiction to another addiction to another addiction is because I didn't address the issue in why I was going to an addiction in the first place. It doesn't matter what the addiction is. And I mean, through like the 2014 where I completely changed my life, to in 2016 where I ran, those 4 marathons and raised, money for charities. It wasn't about running for me. Like, my first marathon was about me. That was my finish line. Nobody's taking it from me. I'm doing it for me. But every other one, I've completed 9 of them now since.
Wow.
And every single one of them since has been about something or somebody else, like running for charity, running for like Make-A-Wish or domestic violence, rape crisis counselors, like whatever the reason for my running is. If I can run, like, my life's changed me, I can change other lives as a return. Like, I'm just doing what I love to do. So in 2017, I got injured and I didn't run any marathons. But in 2018, I was like, okay, I'm going to go, and this year I'm going to run 3 full marathons at the back of the pack and finish last on purpose, so I can support those at the back of the pack and cheer them on. Because quite frankly, at a marathon, which is 26.2 miles, the spectators are there for the pros. Why? Because they're phenomenal athletes. They're running 2 hours. They're elites. However, the people that are at the back of the pack, all the crowds have gone. Like, everyone's gone home, and it's like been a long day. So it's like 7 hours out there. There's not many people around. So I know what it's like to feel at the back of the pack. So it's like, I'm going to sign up and complete 3 full marathons. So in Arizona, I went back and did the usual, my Arizona, my San Diego, and my Vegas. And in Arizona, I crossed the finish line with a guy that was 84 years old. So me and him, we were together for most of the day, because that's how you are at the back of the pack. Like, you form this, maybe like this bond, but whether you talk or not, it's another thing. You might pass comment,
right?
Yeah. In here in San Diego in June, I completed in 7 hours and 23 minutes with Elvis. The guy ran barefoot for a majority of the race. It was hot. It was like 75 degrees, but it was my best marathon I had ever ran. I took my nutrition to par before. Like, I really focused on not only running, but I ran fasted. So my mind was even more clear. Like, I'd come into it like a very clear mindset of a run. And it was a fantastic race. And then,
this was after your injury.
So that was the injury was in 2017, and this is in 2018. So this is the beginning of June.
Yeah.
And then So the Monday or 8 days after my June marathon in San Diego, it was a Monday night, and you talk about the daily woe. I go out every night and I take a picture. Well, after I take the picture, I post to social media, and then I normally just go for a walk. And if I pass people that are less than fortunate than me, I have a conversation with them and ask them if they need food, or, sometimes they just want to talk. They don't want the food or anything.
Yeah.
They just want somebody to listen to them, right? So I was doing that on the Monday night, and I was sitting down. I'd gotten a couple of people less fortunate than me some food, and I was sitting down on a grassy area by the most expensive hotel in Pacific Beach, overlooking the water. The water is right here. I'm sitting there having a conversation, and out of nowhere, an individual came up behind me and hit me over the head with a skateboard.
Wow.
I tried to get up to defend myself, and as I got up, my ankle snapped. So I had a open skull fracture and a broken ankle, and within the blink of an eye, the people that I was helping turned and took the clothes off of their back to help me. Like, they put it around my head to stop the bleeding.
Wow.
They went and got help. I was rushed to the emergency room. They closed up my head. I spent 4 nights in the trauma center, where they were able to get the skull fracture under control. And then my leg was broken, so it was so swollen. There was those fracture blisters that they couldn't operate. I had to wait a couple of weeks to get operated on. But at that moment, I realized, in the back of the ambulance driving to the hospital, I had a moment of deep anger and hatred. I was pissed, extremely pissed. I'm getting followed by one cop. I got a cop sitting next to me, and it's okay. And that came across me, and I was like, oh shit. Okay, I'm realizing this right now. And it's wait a second. I don't know who did this. It's I don't know who to channel. I can't channel this anger or something. It's from this moment going forward, I don't know what's going to happen, but I have to remain positive. I can't let myself, I have to seek the positive in every situation. So I got rushed into the emergency room, and then obviously spent the time there. And then the doctor said, hey, you can't run for 12 weeks. You can't put any weight on your right ankle because you're going to it's in a cast. And so I was crutching around, it's okay, give me a break. It's so you're telling me I can't run. It's how can I complete my goal of completing my 3rd full marathon at finishing last? I've got 6 months, less than 6 months till the end of the year. It's you're going to tell me I can't run for 3 of them? Okay.
Wow.
So I rested. And at the beginning of December, I flew to San Antonio, Texas, to run number 3 of the year, full marathon number 3. And I got to the start line. I was feeling great. My foot, I hadn't really ran more than 2 miles since I broke my ankle. And it's well, it just hurt. And there was nerve pain. And it was just it wasn't 100%, but it's I'm going to go.
Try.
I committed to this, and I'm just going to give it all I got. So yeah, the first mile, I knew it was bad because I couldn't keep anything down. No fluids or anything would be kept down. But I kept going on to the next mile. And I got to mile 11, where if there's a full marathon and a half marathon, it's normally the time where the cutoff is split this way to go do the half and then keep going this way for the full. Well, there was never a doubt that I was going to go to the half, even though I was that's probably all I can do. No, you came here for the full, keep going. So I remember going down this straight Texas road. It was 3 miles long. It was does this thing ever stop? But I got down there and made it to the Riverwalk at the beginning, and there was cutoffs you have to make for the race, and the very last cutoff, I made it by 4 minutes. So it's I didn't get swept on my own. I didn't get picked up. I made it to the last one. And at mile 19 is when I had to make a decision. It's this day's going to end for you very quickly. It's just whether if you're going to go off on your own terms or you're going to be plucked up by an ambulance.
Right.
At that time, I walked to the side and I just stopped. And they came by and picked me up in the back of a Gator and took me to a bus and then shuttled me to the medical tent at the end, where I got helped and I got obviously hydrated back up, and the pain went away in my leg. Well, that was in December of last year. So the beginning of this year, the pain was radiating from my bottom of my foot up to my hip, my cat, like the side of my thigh, like it was starting to get sore up my leg. And I just thought it was like a knot from me overcompensating because of the way I was walking.
And were you at that point, running still, or had you really like
No,
chilled out?
I chilled out so that was December, the beginning of December. And I hadn't I knew something, like I didn't feel right. Like my leg wasn't feeling right. It was like nerve pain, and it was weird internal pain.
And what was your mental game at this point? Because like at any point, because you did such a good job of shifting like pretty immediately, at any point did your mind start dragging you? Because I was pissed off. Like when I read that, I was really mad. I couldn't believe that somebody would do that to you. So like at any point were you battling with that kind of resentment or going back to that moment and wishing it didn't happen? Because on Facebook, we give this perception.
Yeah.
You have been amazingly positive, but it's like you had to be processing as you were going along, right?
No, of course, process every time. And don't get me wrong. I mean, there were, I never had for that. I've never felt sorry for myself. Like never, I would do it. People have asked me like, would you go? Yeah. 2 people got fed that night. Like, I was committing a random act of kindness and a random act of hate collided at the same time. There's no way I could control no. So like I had that moment in the back of the ambulance.
Yeah.
That I had to ground myself there, because it's like, I may not be able to control what's happened to me right now, but I have full control over what's up here. So if me not controlling this and allowing this to just go wherever it wants, because it's very possible to do, then that's my fault. Okay. Yeah. But if I can remain up here. So I'm very, very positive. And the best thing about being positive, especially when you're in elements of trauma or you're in the hospital, you will get treated much better by the nurses and the CNA. I promise you, it doesn't matter how bad you are going. And I've learned this, because you say thank you or smile or something like that when you are having the most shittiest possible moment. I guarantee you the nurse is like, damn, thanks, because these people have been like yelling at me, the patients next door or the doctor or something like. So
and your body's gonna heal different. Your body is gonna react to what the story that you're telling it. So if you're in this negative, miserable state, you're in a low vibration, your body's not gonna heal from that. So you heal faster when you're more positive.
And you're gonna attract, like you said, the people that are at that higher vibration to help you heal. So that's a really
great advice.
Yes.
I had to, and if what I learned during the first 6 months of losing 106 pounds has being fat, being obese has saved my life over and over and over and over again. Because this year, when I've been dealing with that nerve pain that I thought was related to my ankle, so they removed the plates and the screws that they had put in last year after the surgery in June, and the nerve pain didn't go away. So I just kept going back to the doctors, try to get them, hey, something's not right here. There's like a knot here up on the side of my hip, and I think it has something to do with my ankle or something's not right. So I went to 3 different doctors. 2 of them gave me cortisone shots, and all 3 of them diagnosed me with an IT band strain. I'm a runner. I've ran a lot. And I'm like, that's not an IT band strain. It really hurts. I can't sleep. And it was just getting worse and worse and worse. So this was just since January of this year. I went in, and then June of this year is when I had my surgery to remove the plates. And after that, from June until the middle of July is when it progressively got really, really, the pain in my whole leg got extremely painful. I couldn't sleep at night. Nothing would work. I was given gabapentin, which is a nerve pain. It's for people that have shingles, and it's a high level pain pill. They were giving morphine. I was on high doses of morphine, but I finally went in, because to get any more pain meds, you have to go get seen by a pain management doctor. And I went to get an appointment with a pain management doctor at the middle of July, and they gave me an appointment for November 22nd. I was I can't wait till November 22nd, but because of the way the opiates are handed out like candy in this country, the crisis that has created, now everyone's shocked their docs, and the people that want to get seen to can't get seen to. So it's okay, But I kept calling, like I was calling every day. Is there any cancellations?
Well, and this is why people turn to the street, because
Correct.
they need the drugs.
So on August 1st of this year, I got a call and they said, hey, Colin, I was in the back of an Uber going to physical therapy because I thought physical therapy could fix the IT band strain that all these doctors were telling me I had. So on August 1st, I got a call and they said, come in tomorrow. It's with another doctor, but they'll be able to see you. I said, okay, great. So I went in. It was at 10 a.m. on a Friday. And at first, when I went in there was a lump on the side of my hip. And they thought my muscles had detached from my femur, and that's what was causing the pain. But they wanted to order all the images just to make sure, because they didn't know what it was. So I went in for, you could go in and get an x-ray immediately. So I walked into the hospital that was attached to the medical building and got an x-ray. And I had to call for schedule an ultrasound for later in that day, and then call a 1-855 number to schedule an appointment. So I called that 1-855 number from the lobby of this hospital, and they told me, University of California, San Diego, oncology department. I'm thinking to myself, oncology department? I don't have cancer. Like, I just have this little lump thing on the side of my leg. Like, I just had x-ray. Like, I'm not sick. Like, I'm in pain, not sick. Well, that thing, I was like, oncology. I was like, okay, whatever. Well, I go in to get that ultrasound, and
no one told you that. No one told you that's what you were doing.
Nobody. No, they said
no preparation.
No. And I was like, whoa, okay. But I just thought maybe this dude, he's just oncologist, but he also handles like lumps and other things that I have, because I don't have cancer.
Right.
So I go in for the ultrasound, and the tech comes and gets me, makes me wait an hour, and says, sorry, there was like somebody else in the room. Yeah, sure. Okay, whatever. That's not the real reason. Like, can someone be honest with me for a second here? Next thing, the door opens and 3 doctors walk in. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you just told me to call an oncologist and now there's 3 docs here? Like, what's going on? And they're like, well, we saw something concerning on the x-ray and we want to see. But don't be concerned, because these guys, this is a teaching hospital, so there's going to be more eyes. And it's like, okay, well, that's not actually that bad. Now you put it like that, like these guys are just like learning more so they can help more people. It's like, okay, cool. I want more doctors in. Like, cool, bring them all. So I went for that afternoon. I left, and it's like at that time I was hobbling, but I was still going out. Like, it really hurt to walk. It really hurt to do everything, but I still was going out every single night to do the daily woke. So it's like I would still go out there. Well, I went and had CT scans and then, MRIs, and went to see the oncologist. And this was on September 9th. So 9/9.
Wow.
2019. I go in to see an oncologist, and he's one of 2, the actual oncologist. He actually works for the United States Navy. He's a officer within the Navy, but he works part-time at UCSD. So as a rare sarcoma specialist, so a bone cancer specialist. And on August 9th is when I got told that I had a rare form of bone cancer, and that I would need to have my femur and related muscles, tendons, ligaments in my right leg removed.
Wow.
I was like, what? It's like, okay, there's no chemo, no radiation. Like, you're just going to go in there and operate, like remove? It's like, okay, so getting told you have cancer will change somebody, okay? But I wasn't like I think I'd already adapted, like, okay, the doctor's probably going to tell me that I have cancer. Like, I think I'd already grasped that in the couple of weeks leading up. But it's the question that I asked, like, hey, can I run again? Like, when can I run? Like, and when he told me I would never run again, that's when I lost it and broke down. And it was like, are you kidding me? You're going to be somebody tell me I can't run? It's like, my mindset went back. It's like, sorry, doc. People told me in 2014 I couldn't run. It's like, here I am. So it's like, it might be changed. So on 2 weeks later, less than 2 weeks, I went in for an operation. It was supposed to be like 4.5-hour operation. Ended up being 9.5 hours. They removed 75% of my right femur and replaced it with a internal prosthetic, and then took out a gigantic softball plus size tumor from my right hip
Wow.
and then gave me a hip replacement as well. So
Wow.
the last 3 months, like, I've been in hospital for 16 days. I went to a nursing home for 2 weeks. I mean, having your
posts from these were hysterical.
I mean,
just...
the one thing I have promised myself, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had my moments of emotional where I've just, for whatever reason, you just cry. I mean, it's just like, and then like you have the anxiety from the scans and what are they going to tell you and stuff. But one thing I have promised myself to do is make those moments, just moments. And they're not bad days, they're not bad months, they're not, bad weeks, they're just bad moments, right? If they are going to be bad, if we're going to label them, and I hate labels because, like, the identity bullshit of, it's like, come on, it's like, come on, like, so stop with that. Like, so I have identified, if you want to put a label, as a victor and not a victim. Like, I've made a choice. Like, life hasn't always been easy the last 3 months. And even before then, the pain was like, I don't think I would have made it to November 22nd. Like, as positive as a person as I am, the pain was just becoming too much. Like, I just wanted it to stop. Like, please just stop the pain. Like, and the cancer pain, it was just too much. But since, like, I went from being an extremely active endurance athlete to bedridden. And now it's 3 months on and I still can't put more than 50% weight down on my right leg. I still walk with a walker. I still have to have a picker upper to pick stuff up. I still can't put socks on, but I've always remained positive. Why? Because I saw the impact it had in the hospital. When nurses are coming in at the end of the shift to say goodbye to me, because I made their life a little bit more enjoyable that day, just by I'm saying thank you. Like, I was coming off of Dilaudid, which is a intense drug they give you when they take bones and cut bones. So I was on a pain pump, and I was high as a kite for, like, as much as this stuff I was able to take, I was taking it. Like, but when I came off, like, the withdrawals from these are very, very. I mean, I was in a terrible shape for several days. I had nurses that were fanning me down, like that. They don't have to do that. Like, most times they're coming in just to give you your medicine and leaving. Like, these people had, like, these nurses actually cared. Like, I was like, wow. And I think. And
you created
gratitude.
That. You created that.
Yeah, no. Being like, people were asking, like, how the hell can you be so positive when what you've been going through? Like,
I've been asking myself that a lot when I look at your stuff. I'm like, how does he do it? And that was one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here, because it's like so fucking inspiring what you've been through, and how you continue to use humor and kindness and not resent. It's really, truly, I don't know if I could have done it as brilliantly.
No, you could have.
Seriously.
Maybe. No, you would have. You train your mind. Our mind's more powerful than we believe. And the one thing that drives me bonkers, and this is one thing for the last 3 months that I've had a lot of awakening inside. I have a powerful story. I know that. However, I've kept it within. I think that's going to change. Like, it has to change. There's so much misinformation out there by people that think they can take a couple of classes and I'm an expert. It's like, holy shit, what is this? Like, come on, let's get real with, like, this. We have to get back, just like this, the real ones. We have to get back to speaking raw truths. Like, if you rewind to that Tuesday back in January 2014, if I hadn't even got told I was going to, if I want to see my next birthday, I need to make a change, and if I wasn't told that I was fat by somebody that I respected the opinion of, no matter how hard it was for me to hear, if I had those two things, maybe I wouldn't have been able to overcome what I've been able to overcome. But
that's true.
What learning, like, if people think it's nutrition and exercise, like nutrition or diet and exercise, that's what physical personal trainers will tell you. Nutrition and exercise, or diet, exercise. That makes 95%. That's 95% irrelevant when it comes to weight loss. It takes
so true.
5%. If your mind is not right, guess what? People will. This is another one. The trainers, and I'm not bashing on all trainers. About 5% of them I would listen to. 95% of them are garbage. Just like doctors, nutritionists, dietitians, they're all garbage. But the 5%. So let's, like, throw that out there before people say that. Oh, Colin, you're saying everybody? No. Like 5% of them are good.
Some people get it.
Right. Some people get it. but they'll say, oh, you need to develop habits and discipline, and it's like, wait a second, this is where willpower, they're like, oh, willpower doesn't last. It's like, okay, let me tell you something about willpower and what habits and discipline do and don't do. If you don't have willpower, it doesn't matter what habits or discipline you have. When life hits you and you're unable to do that habit, and discipline doesn't matter at that point because the habit's not there. If you haven't the willpower to control what's up here and address what's up here, you will go back into the cycle. It's just like that endless like pool that just keeps, it's great for just chilling and drinking beers and having a good time, right? But it's just a cycle. But if you want to actually break free, you have to address. So that's where like box breathing, for instance, people laugh at me all the time, but it's like, okay, if you had to deal with the things that I've had to deal with from like the system, the healthcare system in this country for the last 3 months, box breathing would be in your best interest, because like drinking alcohol wasn't an option for me because I'm on all these like big clear warnings, like don't drink alcohol with this medication. It's like, so a nice stiff glass of something, I mean, who doesn't like that, right? It's like, that would ease the edge a little bit. It's like, but no, willpower. Like I have conditioned my brain. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm gonna have days that in the hospital, I was having people deliver me Big Macs. Like I wanted a Big Mac. Now I'm a big, I don't like, McDonald's and like fast food are part of the problem of why we have a obesity epidemic. So I'm not a supporter of them. However, if you're eating less McDonald's today than you were yesterday, that's a win. So it's like, we gotta, but I wanted like McDonald's, like bring me Big Macs.
That's
like,
comfort food.
Right.
It's comfort food. Yeah.
But through this whole thing, like I go back to the doctor, and of course, now that I'm able to put some weight on it, they want to weigh you. And it's like, wow, you're the same weight as you were prior to surgery. It's like, yeah, I've been bedridden for 3+ months. It's like, very easily could I have Uber Eats is right on the phone, like all these things. Like I'm by myself, like Baked Bear is around the corner. They offer free delivery. Like you can't get like the temptation. Like
it would have been an easy thing for you to go back to.
It would have, and that there. And but I look at it now, and it's like, if I was almost 300 pounds and I have to endure what I did last year with the attack and then this year with cancer, it's like, I don't think I would have, like, I can see why there's opiate epidemics and crisis for that, because it is a lot easier to
escape.
Like,
I mean, check out.
You really like, just to null the mind, like just to not feel the pain. Like, and that's what I had to do. Like, I think because I like to learn, and I like to learn from other successful people. And that's one thing that I've done over the last like 4 years, 5 years, while maintaining the weight losses. I've reached out and spoken to others that have done the same thing. And that's one thing they all will say is they have their mind, the willpower that they have built up in their mind. The previous person that they killed off, like, they had to. I mean, and if you look at it from, like people that are in abusive relationships and they're in there for 20, 25, 30 years, right? And they finally go off the other way. I mean, was it easy? No, not easy. However, they had to break off, and they had to start fresh, or they had to break away from the past that was they had to make a decision, right? Make a decision to do something different. And I think, to me, the biggest thing that, the overriding theme of this is choosing something different, right? And checking into life. I mean, so many people are just checked out to life. They're just going to work, coming home, having alcohol, watching television, going to sleep, waking up, and doing it all over again. And they're just not engaged with life. And I feel like you made that decision when you were told some really hard truth about being overweight and someone calling you out and saying that you're fat, but you made a choice. And that, to me, is, I mean, it's part of, the real ones, right? It's about making deliberate choices in our lives and then seeing where that takes us. And had you not made that decision, you may not even have been alive, according to that doctor, to even go through what you're going through. And that's exactly it. And that's what I feel like, is that your story is so inspirational, and you're waking people up because, not only did you lose all that weight and run all those marathons, but now going through this cancer crisis and looking at it with new light and being
you know, showing gratitude throughout it. I mean, when my husband was sick for 7 years with lymphoma cancer and ultimately did pass from it, there's lightheartedness about it. There's, you know, it's like you can either just have doom and gloom or you can make the most of it. And that's what life is. So I think you're doing an extraordinary, just an extraordinary example of really living life to its fullest. And it's such a great story.
Well, and it's so amazing too, because like you take Colin's story and it's like, okay, so he had this like, you know, 300 pound existence, and then he did this, and then he got injured. It's like one thing after another, just like you could have just started with the running to the fence and creating something from that to inspire people. But it's like the levels that you're hitting through the traumas that you're experiencing and the way you're handling them, it just takes it to a whole other level. It's like beyond the physical, you know?
Right.
It's so
right.
beyond.
No, it is. It's right. It's like the story of your mind really does become the story of your life, right? So back in, I thought like that Tuesday in 2014, I envisioned being a marathon runner. Now that vision of being a marathon runner was nothing like it turned out to be. Absolutely nothing. Like, but I had that vision of what I thought was like, as we do, because you don't know what something is until you've actually done it, right? So it's like, I know what the feeling of the wall is when you hit the wall during the marathon. Like, that's like, but it's like that there, like that chase has made me go back, and it's like, wait a second, this here is like, people call me crazy. They call me, that's fine. That's their opinion of me. That doesn't bother to change who I am. Like, you can think I'm crazy, or people say, oh, I can't do that. It's like, never been to see a marathon. Like, go out and watch a marathon and you can see like anything's possible, right? So
so Colin, so what do you think? I mean, looking back, and I mean, you've shared, thank you again for your wonderful, you know, story. And so what do you think? What is the message for people? Where, you know, what would you like to share with people about everything you've been through?
It would go back to the fence. I believe that if you set out for a fence, it could be a metaphoric fence, it could be an actual fence, like at the end of your driveway. If you're sitting on the couch right now, or you are living a life that you don't want to live currently, then seek out a fence and touch it every day for 6 days. And then on the 7th day, you reward yourself by giving yourself whatever it may be. It might be you're going to go spend time with somebody. It might be that you have ice cream. Mine used to be mint chocolate chip ice cream. I'd go get a cone of mint chocolate chip ice cream on a Sunday if I hit my fence for the last 6 days, and move the fence for the next week. Because just because you hit that one fence doesn't mean like, hey, you've hit your goal. You have to keep hitting fences, like keep going out and moving the fence. And you know what? Sometimes you may not hit that fence for the week, but you know what? Don't like get down on yourself and beat yourself up. Address it, notice it, like acknowledge that you didn't do it, and say, okay, why didn't I do it? And most of the time when we get our excuses out of the way, because that's what it is, we put an excuse, or there's a mental image of something, reason we can't do something. And most of the right? So it's like when we move that, and it's like, hey, we can actually go to, you know, touch this fence. So it's like always, I mean, people say don't do like the all or nothing approach. I don't believe that's true. Like if we have a
you are breaking it down into smaller increments.
Correct.
Doable than like taking on the 26 miles when you can't even run a block.
No, you have to go on. You just break it down like all or nothing. Like I'm fully committed right now to not letting cancer win. Like there's people that get up every morning that have to take insulin, right? Or if they don't, they will die. Every morning I have to take willpower. If I don't take willpower and do what I have to do to my mind each and every day, I will die. Why? Because I will go back into whatever hole, and it will be obesity that gets me, or it will be cancer that gets me. And more than likely it will be the obesity that gets me. But like insulin for some is just like, I mean, I don't like to use radiation and chemo, obviously, because it doesn't work for my type of cancer. So I don't know, like I don't know that, but it's, I mean, like if you don't get it every single day, like habits, like creating like habits and discipline. Obviously doing that one fence every day is creating a habit, creating discipline, but believing that you can do these, that belief is going to go a lot more like, because
it's what drives it. It's what drives it. And it's creating from that identity. It's like, this is who I am. So I don't let my mind talk me out of it, because this is who I am. Right?
Yeah, because there's always going to be that gorilla that's going to sneak up. And you know what? When we're going through hard times in life, that gorilla is going to appear, and it's going to be very, very loud. Yep. And the only person that can hear it, which is the thing that sucks about life, is you.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, so we got to battle with ourselves. So if you haven't come to a relationship, and this is what I haven't done, this is why I cycle through the addictions of, I smoked cigarettes, I was addicted to gamble, like I probably had a drinking problem if you ask like most people, like it's like all these things. And I'm just the average guy. Like my life is like what I went through, and majority of people probably, you know, have gone through it in one way or another. And it's like I believe like we are one decision away from a completely different life. If I hadn't have decided back on that Tuesday, like when everyone was laughing at me, every single person, like it was so great. It's so great.
Good for you. Well, it almost and it also, we were talking about this before we went live, is that, you know, life, like really when you let go and just let life happen. I mean, again, you need to make those decisions about what you want to create. But then once you're in it, like you made that decision and then boom, life picked you up and just boom, you know, put you on this path of becoming a marathoner. And you know, so I think that's part of it too, is letting things unfold once you've made the decision and not figure out exactly how it's going to work, because we don't have that much control.
It's like, I don't know, like I went through and like I tried like the diets and stuff. I went to the Atkins diet, or the low carb diet, or the high fat diet, or protein diet, or carnivore. Like I went through all of these, like those different fences. I tried it, and it's like, okay, we've overcomplicated this way too much. Like I went down and just simplified each. Like people get overwhelmed. Like we overwhelm ourselves. Like when we don't know how to like move on or move forward or obtain a goal, we go to Dr. Google or go to the internet, right? When you type into Google, whoever's got the most money for those ads is going to pop up and show whatever they
that's
want.
right. That's a Pandora's box for sure.
So
well, we want to thank you so much, Colin, for your inspiration. And we are, you know, we're holding you in love and light, and just know that, you know, we see you healed and whole, and that you're running again soon.
Oh, no. Yeah. I might not be running. Like normal people definition of running due to the muscles that I've lost, but I'll be completing another marathon.
No doubt. I have no doubt. I might be next to you. You never know.
I already know when it is. So it's like in 2021, the doctor said I had to have a year. So we'll listen to the doctor. I mean, he saved my life. So, you know, we'll listen to him there, but he's fully on board. Like he understands, like that's who I am. And that's what I'm going to do.
That's what you'll do. That's what you'll do. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah. So people can do it. You just have to, you know, set that goal and just believe in yourself and deal with the issues that are up here.
Yeah. Amen.
That's right. Awesome. Well, we're going to say goodbye to Colin, and Goldyn and I will wrap things up, but thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Colin.
Bye.
Take care. Ooh.
Wow. That is amazing.
And I've been following him for a while, and I knew there was so much more, you know, even though we messaged back and forth, I just knew there was so much more to what he was accomplishing. And I just think there's so much of his story is going to be such an inspiration to so many people.
Absolutely. And the whole, my gosh, losing weight, being a 300-pound person, and, you know, just making that decision about becoming a marathoner. Right. And then having this brutal attack on him, and then ultimately having cancer. I mean, my goodness, he's been through the ringer, and yet look at what a positive person he is. And I think that's what's helping him, you know, heal in this situation.
Yeah, he's an absolute force, and you can feel it through every one of his posts, and just the humor that he's taken on, you know, to be able to feel humor and to make fun of things in situations like that. It's like, I don't know, that's next level. That's really next level, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, wonderful. So what else is there anything else we want to share today?
We've Lisa and I have kind of been on the holiday run, I feel like. So we've, we're doing our best to stay committed to our page and bring you guys the show. So, we'll continue to do that. But as far as like posting goes and stuff like that, of course, I have a house full right now. Be gentle with us. But we have so much planned for 2020 for you guys, and so many things that we're going to bring to the table that is just going to really kind of mimic Colin's journey, where you're just deciding every day to make the most out of life and to create the highest possible potential that we all have. Like, he had the potential to stay in that 300-pound body and create less and less health and probably die in early age. And he made that decision to reach. And in every single one of his traumas, he just kept reaching, and he kept reaching and kept reaching. And he continues to do so every day that he gets out of bed. So we all have that potential. And one other thing that really brings to light with Colin is just really taking stock of our physical bodies. Mm-hmm. Because I think a lot of us take our physical bodies for granted. Like, if you're not exercising, if you're not, if you're just allowing your physical body to kind of wane and become, old and all of that, it's like, I am such a believer in moving the body every day and building strong muscle and just really taking your physical body to full potential so that you can create just an incredible life, and stop
Absolutely.
feeling so tired and having no energy because you're eating like crap and drinking too much and all of those things. Like, those are the things that we really have. It's such a simple thing to do. And
especially at this time of year with all the holiday sweets and all the,
parties. Yep.
Excuse me, all the parties and everything. I keep getting this. I feel like Spirit's wanting me to mention. I mean, look at your body. It's like the vehicle that your spirit is in. And so if you have a car, you're not just going to put sugar into the gas tank and, and not like keep it clean and keep new tires on it and everything. I mean, that's our body, right? Like, every opportunity you have to have a conscious choice about what you're putting in your body, because truly whatever you put in it, it's the medicine that you're feeding yourself, and that's what's going to create your output. And also just to be grateful for the health and grateful for your body.
Oh, totally.
I mean, that to me is probably the most paramount. It's first level. If you don't have your health, you really struggle with everything else in life. And when my husband got sick with cancer, I mean, that just drove it home even more to me, that like just being grateful every single moment for my healthy body and keeping it as healthy as possible. You never know when that's never know. I mean, look at Colin. Here he is. They didn't even tell him he had cancer. I mean, like, it was almost like he had to figure it out for himself based on, what was happening. But
no preparation for that whatsoever.
Right.
That's incredible. What a great story.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
So many good things to come. So do you have any words of wisdom?
Well, I was just going to pull some cards real quick, if that sounds good.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay. It's been a busy morning. I've already recorded 2 other episodes for my Exploring Death podcast. So be sure to check that out if people haven't already. All right. So the first one, wow, this is inspiration.
Hello.
And the first card, yeah, this is usually the blocked one. And I feel like the reason it's blocked is because it's all around us. Inspiration is everywhere. And we sometimes just put the blinders on and refuse to listen. I mean, like for today, Colin losing 300 pounds. I mean, being told that he may not see his next birthday if he didn't take charge of his life. And that he took that as inspiration and made it, change his life. And so, I mean, that's what the card, sorry, there's little bugs biting me. But I think there's inspiration all around us, and we just sometimes don't want to hear it. What do you get about that, about inspiration being the blockage?
As far as like, even what Colin was saying about people that he's met that kind of say, give him the excuses or the reasons why they can't do what he's done. And it's like, when I look at a person like Colin, I think like he has taken all of his limitations and just shattered every one of them. And You know, I think too, even in my experience, people can look at my life and say, yeah, that's great. You know, you did all those things, but that's you know, like things come easy for you, or, you know, it's easy to put people and label them and put them in a box and say, well, that's good for you, but that's not me because I'm not lucky. You know, you're really lucky. I'm not lucky. You find your high school sweetheart when you were 12 years old. Like, you know, those things where people look at your experience and they go, I'll never get that because I've never experienced luck or happiness or abundance. And it's like, guys, this is available for anybody. There's no reason to put a limitation on it. There's no reason to put a block on it. When someone is in your path that's super inspirational, just like Colin for us, it means that we're vibrating with that. So if you are with abundant people, if you're with people that are super happy and super healthy, it means that they're in your experience. So you're that much closer to it. Otherwise they wouldn't be there because you wouldn't have the vibrational alignment with them.
I love that. I love it. So yeah, so when inspirational people show up in your life, take notice, because that's like a message from the universe. Well, what I love then is the action card is breakthrough. Nice. So use that inspiration, right, to break through. I mean, that's what this is all about, is like, oh my gosh, wow, this is totally inspiring to think that somebody could make all those changes, you know, and not effortlessly, but with decision and action. And I think that's what a lot of people miss out on, is that it's a decision and then taking those next action steps.
And training your mind. He was a lot about training his mind. Like the mind training is where it's at, because your mind is always going to try to drag you back to those places where you stay the same. And if you ignore those patterns, those neural loops, and create new ones and say, no, I've decided this is my new identity.
Which brings you into focus. So that's, I mean, I just absolutely love it, because that's exactly it. Training your mind to focus. What do you want in life? It's not about letting life happen to you. I mean, and I guess that's where the balance is, right? Because life is happening, but I do feel like the more you can focus on what you really want, that helps drive the boat. It's like you're you're at the front of the ship and you get to pretty much drive it, but the path is already set. Like the river is going to be winding left and right. And so you need to go with that, but also you have some opportunity to be able to, steer the ship.
Decide what comes next, instead of like sitting there and stalling inside the storm and saying everything is happening to me and life sucks. You can make the decision to kind of step on the gas and keep going forward and create the identity and the destiny of what you want.
Absolutely. And like, for example, Colin with the focus, I mean, again, once he made the decision, then it became easier to make the next decision, like not to go eat more Big Macs, and not to, go smoking more, chain smoking. I mean, but you got to make those decisions. Otherwise it's easier. It's way easier to go through a drive-through and get all those fast food restaurants or, food than it is to cook healthy food on your own.
Well, but there's an element of freedom in that too. So if you realize that by making that decision and staying committed to that decision, you're no longer in the mental anguish of not being who you want to be. There's so much freedom in it when you just stay committed to it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the part that maybe we didn't touch on this, on this conversation, but like him being a 300 pound person, like, was he happy? Was he fulfilling why he was here? Like, I mean, I know in the years where I was just kind of in that momentum of just, waking up, going to work, coming home, having drinks, going to bed, waking up. I mean, there's no joy in that. It is Groundhog Day. Right. And so, whereas now, like, I mean, you can just see how joyful he is. I mean, he's living his life and making decisions that support that. And I mean, my gosh, running 9 marathons. I mean, what an accomplishment.
So amazing. And I know he'll do it again. He's been trying to get me to do that for a few years. So man, if he gets out there, what reason do I have not to?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, even if you do a half marathon, start somewhere, right?
I stand on the sideline and cheer him on, right?
Well, there you go. Absolutely. Well, fantastic.
I love
Well, this is great. I mean, here we are. I'm back in Maui, and but it's wonderful to be side by side here in the Real Ones. And thank you all for listening. We love you. We're sending you big, giant holiday hugs and cheers, and hope you're having
so much fun and be present. Just be present. I've really practiced that a lot. My family's here, my grandbaby's here. There's a lot going on, and I just keep relaxing and just really embracing the present moment, because it's like nothing really matters, like we've had a bunch of people sick and there's been colds, and there's been things where you could have gone like, why is this happening? Why do we have to do this? And it's like, no, it doesn't matter. It's forcing us to slow down and just enjoy each other's company. And that just feels so good to not be in resistance to it, you know?
Absolutely. And my big message this holiday season was to just let go of expectations. I mean, the last couple of years, I haven't been with my children at Christmas time, but I was able to go back early, and we had a faux Christmas on December 14th, and it was fantastic. I feel like Christmas is over, and I have all these free days now because I had my fulfillment of being with my children and having our cinnamon rolls in the morning, and then opening stockings and having our Christmas meal together. And we even added ice skating down at the beach, which was mind blowing and so much fun. So, for me, it's about letting go of those expectations, because there's so much pain wrapped up when you can't do it the way it was done before.
Yes.
And that's such a rub with tradition, right? I mean, that's the whole idea of tradition, like, oh, but this is what we've always done. But you know what? When you're not living in the same states anymore, you can't do it the same way you used to do it. And that expectation and that disappointment of not being able to have that is what drives the dissatisfaction,
the misery.
And misery, right? Yeah. So instead of focusing on what you can't have, focus on, wow, what's new? What's happening? What can I do?
It's true.
And it makes it so much better.
So much better. There's so much joy in that present moment and just letting go of everything else.
Absolutely.
Love it. Well, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We love you guys.
Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you're celebrating.
I forget. What is, so Monday, what's Monday's date? Is that before the New Year? It is, right?
It is. Yes. Yeah. I think it is. Next week we'll be live again on the 30th, just before 2020. So maybe we'll do, we'll do a meditation or something to get everybody into the
and we're working on the guided meditation. So if you ordered those, just hang tight, because they're going to be so worth it. We do have those for pre-order on my website, goldynduffy.com. Right? That's it?
Yep.
Is that all we have right now?
I think that's it. I'm going to put in the group, we're putting together a retreat in Maui. So I would just love to put it out and see who might be interested in doing that. So we're super excited. We found the location and we're
oh my God. And we have so much stuff planned, like so many good things, and good people are aligning with us to bring this.
Exactly. Awesome. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in doing, then be sure to, let us know there. And so we can start. Holding spots for people. So, all right. Well, have a wonderful week, and until next week, right? Love you.
Love you.
Okay, let me stop the recording.
That was